The vast warship of the Galactic Hegemony emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, its silvery hull gleaming against the backdrop of stars. Inside the command center, High Admiral Doyen watched with mild amusement as his sensors catalogued Earth's defensive capabilities. "Primitive," he muttered, flicking through holographic displays of Earth's orbital stations and modest fleet. Their most advanced ships still use ion propulsion. How quaint. The year was 2137, and humanity had only recently ventured beyond Mars, establishing mining operations in the asteroid belt and a research station on Europa. Earth's nations had united under the United Earth government, following the climate wars of the 2080s, pooling resources to reach for the stars. But to the Galactic Hegemony, rulers of 8,000 star systems, humans were merely the latest. Curiosity in a galaxy teeming with life. "Prepare the diplomatic shuttle," Doyen ordered. "Ambassador Tay should deliver our standard Class 3 civilization greeting and ready the resource assessment teams." Ambassador Tay, tall and elegant with his distinctive blue-tinted skin and six-fingered hands, studied the briefing materials on Earth. His thin lips curled into what his species considered a smile, but looked more predatory to human eyes. "Another world of dreamers," he said to his aide. "They believe they're special because they've split the atom and sent robots to neighboring planets." The diplomatic shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, escorted by the planet's best fighters, which Tay's pilot noted were adorably simple in design. The Hegemony craft could have outmaneuvered them with minimal effort. Landing at the United Earth Government headquarters in New Geneva, Tay stepped onto Earth soil with the confident stride of someone who had performed this ritual hundreds of times before. The human dignitaries, dressed in their finest uniforms and formal wear, awaited him with expressions of hope and wonder. President June stood at the forefront, her weathered face solemn yet dignified. Behind her stood General Hyun, head of Earth's combined military forces, his eyes narrowed with suspicion despite the diplomatic occasion. "Greetings, people of Earth," Tay announced, his translator converting his harmonic language into perfect English. "The Galactic Hegemony welcomes you to the interstellar community." The televised meeting was watched by billions across Earth, many celebrating this historic first contact. But in a secure bunker beneath the Asian continent, a group of Earth's top scientists and military strategists observed with cold calculation. "He's lying," said Dr. Yunji, Earth's foremost xenobiologist. "Look at the micro-expressions, the way his secondary eyes don't dilate when speaking of peace." On screen, Tay continued his speech. "In recognition of your developing status, the Hegemony offers protection from the more unstable elements of galactic society. In return, we request only reasonable access to your system's resources and permission to establish cultural exchange centers." The room erupted in polite applause, but President June's smile never reached her eyes. Later that evening, at a lavish reception in the ambassador's honor, Tay sampled Earth cuisine with exaggerated politeness while scanning the room with hidden tech that analyzed Earth's level of advancement. "Your species has accomplished much in a short time," Tay told President June, sipping a glass of champagne. "Most civilizations take twice as long to achieve spaceflight after discovering electricity." "We've always been quick learners," June replied evenly. Across the galaxy, in the Hegemony's capital world of Nexus Prime, the Supreme Council reviewed Tay's initial reports with dismissive laughter. "They still use combustion engines for ground transportation," chuckled Councillor Min, his elongated skull gleaming under the chamber's lights. "And their weapon systems rely on chemical propellants. They're children playing with toys. Their media shows remarkable imagination, though," noted Councillor Sunwoo, the intelligence director. "Their fiction depicts technologies far beyond their capabilities. Stealth ships that can hide from sensors, energy weapons that can cut through any material." "Dreams," scoffed the Supreme Leader Kibum. "All primitive species have grand dreams. Reality is less accommodating." What the Hegemony couldn't know, was that Earth had detected their signals decades ago. In 2089, a radio astronomer named Jiwoo had captured transmissions that were unmistakably artificial. Instead of announcing this discovery, Earth's leaders had made a fateful decision: prepare in secret, deep beneath the lunar surface, in caverns carved by robots and shielded from all known forms of detection, Earth had built its real fleet. Ships, with hulls made of materials that absorbed rather than reflected scanning beams, engines that left no radiation signature, weapons developed by studying the principles gleaned from carefully intercepted alien communications. And in Earth orbit, the primitive spacecraft and stations served as an elaborate facade, a technological Potemkin village designed to deceive any watching eyes. After Tay's diplomatic shuttle departed, President June met with her inner council in a room swept clean of any surveillance technology. "They took the bait," General Hyun said. "Ambassador Tay believes we're at least a century behind their technology. His scans detected exactly what we wanted him to see." President June nodded gravely. "How long before they start making demands? Beyond the cultural exchange centers and reasonable resource access? Based on historical patterns with other species they've encountered, 3 months, replied Intelligence Director Sunho. They'll establish their bases, assess our true resource wealth, then gradually increase their presence until we're effectively a colony world. Then we have 3 months to complete Project Shadow, President June said, looking at the holographic display showing the status of Earth's secret fleet. The hegemony mocks what they think we are. Let them laugh while they can. In the darkness of space, hidden from all conventional detection methods, Earth's true technological marvel, a fleet of warships that could rival anything in the hegemony, continued to grow. The countdown to revelation had begun. The massive lunar installation known as Darkside Base remained invisible to the hegemony's orbital scanners. Nestled within the natural caverns of the far side of the moon, its entrances disguised as ordinary craters, it had grown exponentially over 3 decades since first contact. Inside, thousands of Earth's brightest minds worked tirelessly on Project Umbra, humanity's secret answer to alien domination. Admiral Jiwoo walked through the central engineering bay, her footsteps echoing on the metal walkway. At 58, her hair had gone completely silver, but her eyes remained sharp, missing nothing as she inspected the latest stealth destroyer being assembled. Workers nodded respectfully as she passed. Everyone knew her story, how the hegemony's resource quotas had led to the collapse of her family's coastal home during rare earth extraction, killing her parents and younger brother. "Updates, Chief Engineer?" she asked, stopping beside a tall man examining holographic schematics. Chief Engineer Hanjin looked up, dark circles under his eyes betraying weeks of minimal sleep. "The Phase 7 cloaking system is ready for testing, Admiral. If it works as projected, even their quantum detection arrays won't be able to find us." On the surface, humanity appeared to have accepted its place in the galactic hierarchy. The hegemony's cultural centers had spread to every major city, showcasing alien art and technology while subtly reinforcing the message, "We are advanced, you are not." Resource extraction had intensified, with massive hegemony mining vessels, stripping asteroids in hours that would have taken human operations years to process. Earth governments publicly praised their galactic partners, while secretly diverting 20% of global production to Project Umbra. The official military maintained outdated ships as a facade, occasionally requesting technology transfers that the hegemony smugly denied or provided in deliberately crippled form. "The Umbra fleet now stands at 173 vessels, reported Strategic Director Min Jung during the monthly briefing in Darkside's command center. 14 dreadnoughts, 57 destroyers, and the rest support craft. President Daehyun, the 5th Earth leader since first contact, nodded solemnly. "And the hegemony suspects nothing?" "Their arrogance is our greatest advantage," Admiral Jiwoo replied. "Last month I attended their military showcase as Earth's representative. The sector commander actually patted my shoulder and said our fighter designs were charming attempts at relevance." The room filled with bitter laughter. "What about the quantum field generators?" asked Defense Minister Seojun. Engineer Hanjin activated a display showing a device smaller than a basketball. 7th generation. Each one creates a bubble of distorted reality around our ships. Their scanners see what we want them to see: empty space, an asteroid, or even one of our decoy vessels. The real breakthrough had come 15 years after first contact, when researchers discovered a fundamental flaw in hegemony sensor technology. Their civilization had advanced along a different technological path, developing incredible faster-than-light travel but with surprising blind spots in certain quantum spectrums. Humanity had exploited these gaps, developing weapons and defenses the aliens couldn't detect because they didn't know to look for them. Deep beneath the mare ingenii, the manufacturing facilities worked around the clock, robots designed to move. With absolute minimal energy signatures, assembled components built on Earth and smuggled to the moon disguised as waste shipments. The facility used geothermal energy from the moon's core, leaving no heat signature for the hegemony to detect. "Show me the Shadow Blade," Admiral Jiwoo requested. The lights dimmed and a hologram appeared of Earth's flagship, a vessel unlike anything in the hegemony's fleet. Where alien ships were elegant and organic in design, the Shadow Blade was angular and predatory, its hull composed of overlapping plates of nanomaterial that could absorb or redirect any scanning beam. "She'll be ready for her first stealth trial next month," said Hanjin with pride. "We've installed the plasma lance weapons. One shot can disable a hegemony dreadnought's main systems without destroying it." This had been Jiwoo's insistence. Weapons, precise enough to disable rather than obliterate. "We're not like them," she often reminded her team. "We don't seek domination, only freedom." Meanwhile, on Earth, the resistance took more subtle forms. Teenagers graffitied hegemony monuments with symbols the aliens couldn't decipher. Workers deliberately misinterpreted instructions, causing delays that seemed like human incompetence rather than sabotage. University students cracked hegemony educational tablets, extracting technical data while appearing to simply enjoy the approved content. In the hegemony's regional headquarters, in what had once been Singapore, Ambassador Tai's successor, the even more condescending Ambassador Quan, reviewed the quarterly productivity reports with displeasure. "Humans are becoming more inefficient," he complained to his aide. "Production is down 7% from last year." "Perhaps they're reaching their cognitive limits," suggested the aide. "The Supreme Council's anthropological division suggests their brains are simply not wired for sustained technological advancement." "Perhaps," mused Quan, gazing out at the skyline where hegemony architecture now dominated. "Increase the resource quotas by 12%. They need motivation." That decision would prove costly. The increased quotas meant more human workers, assigned to hegemony projects, creating perfect opportunities to gather intelligence and sabotage key systems. On the lunar dark side, Admiral Jiwoo received word of the new quotas while observing a test of the stealth system on a small scout ship. The vessel disappeared completely from all detection equipment, then reappeared 50 kilometers away, without any system registering its movement. "They think we're becoming less capable," she told Hanjin, a cold smile forming on her lips. "Perfect." She touched the small container she always wore around her neck, containing Earth from her family's destroyed home. "How long until the full fleet is equipped with the Phase 7 cloaking?" 8 months if we push the schedules," replied Hanjin. Jiwoo nodded, watching as the scout ship vanished again, moving like a ghost through the void. "We've waited 30 years. We can wait 8 more months." In orbit above Earth, the hegemony's massive command station rotated slowly, its sensors constantly monitoring the planet below and the surrounding space. Not once did those sensors detect the small phase-shifted probe watching them, recording their blind spots, analyzing their defenses, and transmitting data back to Darkside Base through channels the aliens had never thought to monitor. The day of revelation drew closer. The announcement came without warning during what was supposed to be a routine resource coordination meeting. Hegemony Sub-Administrator Yule, a towering figure with jade-colored skin and 4 gleaming eyes, activated a holographic display showing Mars transformed, its rusty surface dotted with massive military installations flying the silver and blue banner of the Galactic Hegemony. "Construction begins next month," Yule stated flatly to the shocked Earth representatives. "The Supreme Council has determined that this sector requires additional security presence." Deputy Secretary Minho, at 32 the youngest diplomat in Earth's negotiation team, leaned forward. With respect, Mars is a sovereign human colony. Any military installation would require approval from the United Earth government and appropriate compensation for... Compensation? Yule's secondary eyes blinked in what humans had learned was amusement. The hegemony protects your species from a dozen threats you cannot comprehend. Your continued existence is your compensation. The Earth delegation exchanged glances. This was different from the usual condescension. There was something new in the alien administrator's tone. Impatience, perhaps even hostility. Later, in the secure conference room beneath Geneva, President Daehyun listened to the recording with a grim expression. "They're accelerating their timeline," he said to his advisors. "Why?" Admiral Jiwoo, visiting from Darkside Base, pulled up classified intelligence reports. "Our agents within their communication network have intercepted fragments suggesting internal political pressure. The hegemony's supreme leader, Ki-boom, faces challenges from a militant faction. Earth is to be his demonstration of strength." "We need more time," General Hyun said. "The Umbra fleet is nearly ready, but we still have 6 warships without completed stealth systems." The president turned to Minho. "How likely is diplomatic resolution?" The young diplomat straightened his shoulders. "With your permission, I request an audience with the Council of Elders itself. If I can speak directly to their leadership, bypass these administrators." "It's dangerous," warned Security Director Sunho. "No human has ever been permitted in their High Council chambers, which is precisely why they might grant it. As a novelty, if nothing else," Minho countered. "Their arrogance makes them curious." 1 week later, Minho's diplomatic shuttle docked with the hegemony's massive orbital headquarters above Earth. Unlike the elegant human vessels designed to conceal their true capabilities, the alien station flaunted its power, a sprawling structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields, weapons systems prominently displayed. As a constant reminder of who held the advantage, Minho was escorted through towering corridors by silent guards whose armor concealed everything except their glowing eyes. The air smelled of ozone and strange spices, and the gravity shifted subtly between sections, a deliberate disorientation technique used on lesser species. The council chamber itself was a vast hemisphere with 13 elevated thrones arranged in a semicircle. The elders varied in appearance, some humanoid, others utterly alien, but all shared the same expression of bored superiority. Supreme Leader Ki-boom, distinguished by his ornate golden exoskeleton, spoke first. "The human wishes to address the Council. This is unprecedented. We grant you 3 minutes, out of curiosity, if nothing else." Minho bowed respectfully, then activated his presentation. Images of Mars appeared, showing the human settlements, the greenhouses, the memorial to the first colonists who had died, making the planet habitable. "Honorable Council, Mars represents humanity's first step beyond our home world. Its settlements were built through sacrifice and ingenuity. Before we knew we weren't alone in the galaxy. I respectfully request that the planned military installations be reconsidered, or at minimum, that human sovereignty be respected through formal treaties and fair compensation." He continued with reasoned arguments about mutual benefit and cooperation, proposals that had taken teams of Earth's best strategists days to craft. But halfway through he noticed several council members talking among themselves, others checking data on personal devices. None were listening. "Is the human finished?" interrupted Councillor Sunwoo, not bothering to hide her disdain. "These primitive, emotional appeals waste the Council's valuable time. I am presenting a formal diplomatic," Minho began. "Earth exists because we allow it," Ki-boom cut in, his voice echoing through the chamber. "Your species has proven disappointing. Your technological advancement has stagnated. Your resource production decreases yearly. Perhaps stronger measures are needed to motivate human efficiency." The chamber's main display changed to show Earth, a blue jewel against the blackness of space. A targeting reticle appeared over the eastern seaboard of North America. "New Atlanta would make a suitable example," said Ki-boom casually. 12 million inhabitants. Enough to demonstrate our seriousness without significantly impacting global productivity. Minho stood frozen, unable to believe what he was hearing. This wasn't negotiation. It was barely even a threat. The council was discussing the deaths of millions, as if considering where to place a storage facility. "For you can't possibly," he started. "The human will be removed," Keebum ordered with a dismissive wave. As guards grabbed Minho's arms, he locked eyes with Keebum. "Earth has surprised you before," he said quietly. "It would be unwise to underestimate us again." For just a moment, he saw uncertainty flicker across the Supreme Leader's features. 3 days later, the hegemony's response came in the form of their largest dreadnought, the World Breaker, moving into low Earth orbit. Nearly 8 kilometers long, its shadow passed over cities like an eclipse, visible even in daylight. Smaller battlecruisers flanked it, weapons ports open in clear threat display. "All communication channels are open," reported the officer on the United Earth Government Emergency Command Center. "They're broadcasting their ultimatum globally." On screens worldwide, Keebum's cold face appeared. "Humans of Earth, your species' continued defiance cannot be tolerated. You will witness the consequences of challenging the hegemony. After today's demonstration, we expect full compliance with all directives, including immediate approval of our Mars installations and a 50% increase in all resource quotas." Tactical displays showed the World Breaker's main cannon powering up, targeting New Atlanta as promised. Evacuation orders had been issued, but millions remained in the city. President Daehyun looked to Admiral Jiwoo, who nodded once. The moment they had prepared for 30 years had arrived, though not exactly as planned. The president pressed a single button on his console. Across all frequencies, on all hegemony channels, Earth broadcast just 3 words: Umbra Protocol. Engaged. In orbit on the bridge of the World Breaker, a junior sensor officer frowned at his display. "Supreme Commander, I'm detecting an energy anomaly." The commander barely glanced over. "Ignore it. Their primitive systems cannot harm us. Prepare to fire on my mark." On the bridge of the World Breaker, Supreme Commander Yule watched with cruel satisfaction as the weapon targeting systems locked onto New Atlanta. The massive dreadnought hummed with power, its main cannon gathering energy that would reduce the city to molten rubble. Behind him, the bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, none questioning the order to destroy millions of lives as a demonstration. "Firing sequence initiated," announced the weapons officer. "Planetary bombardment in 30 seconds. "Good," Yule replied, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of pleasure in his species. "Record the impact for distribution to all human settlements." The sensor officer frowned at his console again. "Sir, that energy anomaly is increasing." "I still can't identify." 20 seconds to firing," interrupted the weapons officer. Yule ignored the sensor officer's concerns. Humans had no technology that could threaten a hegemony capital ship. Their pathetic fleet consisted of outdated cruisers and fighters, currently hiding in Earth's shadow, as if distance would save them when the hegemony decided to eliminate them too. 10 seconds. "Sir!" The sensor officer's voice rose in alarm. "Something is—" Space rippled around the World Breaker. It was subtle at first, like heat waves above a road in summer, then more pronounced, as if reality itself was tearing. "Open!" The bridge crew froze in confusion. Where empty space had existed moments before, a massive warship materialized less than a kilometer from the World Breaker. It was unlike any human vessel the hegemony had documented. Sleek, angular, midnight black, with pulsing blue energy lines running along its hull. The name Baekdu was emblazoned on its side in both Earth and hegemony standard languages. "Impossible," whispered Yule. Before anyone could react, space rippled again, and again, and again. All around the World Breaker, ships appeared. Destroyers, cruisers, frigates, each materializing as if stepping through invisible doors. Within moments, the hegemony flagship found itself surrounded by over 200 warships that sensors had never detected. "How?" Yule stumbled back from the view screen. "Scan them, full spectrum!" "Sir, they're everywhere." The tactical officer's voice cracked with panic. "Not just here, they're throughout the system. 40 vessels have appeared around our Mars. Fleet, 62 around our Jupiter mining stations, 33 at the Saturn outpost. On Earth, in the secure command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Jiwoo stood on the command platform, her silver hair pulled back tightly, her uniform immaculate. Surrounding her, Earth's military leadership watched in silence as the greatest secret in human history was finally revealed. "The Galactic has decloaked successfully," reported her communications officer. "All fleet vessels report successful phase transition. 217 ships now visible to enemy sensors." Ji-woo nodded once. "Open a channel to the world. Breaker, broadcast on all frequencies." When the connection was established, she stepped forward. Her face appeared on every screen aboard every hegemony vessel in the solar system. "This is Admiral Ji-woo of the United Earth Defense Force," she said, her voice calm and measured. "Your weapons are targeted on my home. That was your first mistake." On the world breaker, Yule snarled at the screen. "Fire the main cannon, now!" "Weapons are not responding, sir," replied the officer, frantically working his controls. "Perhaps," continued Admiral Ji-woo, "you should have asked yourselves why humans never questioned your military capabilities, why we never requested defense technology, why we seem to accept your superiority without challenge." The camera pulled back to reveal the Darkside Base Command Center, a technological marvel far beyond what the hegemony believed humans capable of creating. "The answer is simple. We didn't need your technology, we developed our own." Aboard the Baekdu, Captain Junho watched the world breaker through the bridge viewport. The massive alien vessel now seemed less impressive, like a bully suddenly confronted by someone stronger. "Infiltration drones report all hegemony weapon systems successfully neutralized," his tactical officer announced. "Their shields are offline. Propulsion systems isolated." Junho nodded. "Maintain position. All weapons locked but hold fire unless Admiral Ji-woo gives the command." The Baekdu was Earth's masterpiece, nearly as large as the world breaker, but built with technology the hegemony couldn't comprehend. Its hull was composed of quantum-shifting alloys that could absorb or deflect any known scanning beam. Its engines left no radiation signature. But most impressive were its infiltration systems, microscopic drones that had been seeded throughout the hegemony fleet over the past decade, dormant until activated. "Impossible," Yule was shouting at his engineers. "How did they disable our systems? Find the fault and restore weapons immediately." "Sir, we're detecting millions of unknown devices throughout our ship," reported the chief engineer, his voice shaking. "They appear to be inside the weapon control systems, the shield, generators, even the engine cores. Microscopic robots," Admiral Ji-woo explained over the still-open channel. "We've been placing them on your ships for years. Every time your vessels docked at Earth, every supply shipment you received, even in the air of your diplomatic chambers." On screens across Earth, citizens watched in amazement as the truth was revealed. The primitive humans had built a fleet superior to anything the hegemony possessed and had hidden it in plain sight. Children cheered as the angular black ships appeared on their screens. Adults wept with pride and relief. In New Atlanta, people emerged from shelters to see the hegemony dreadnought, now surrounded by Earth vessels, its weapons powerless. The shadow of fear that had hung over humanity for decades was lifting. "You planned this from the beginning," Yule accused, his earlier confidence evaporated. "Since first contact." "Before that," corrected Admiral Ji-woo, "we detected your signals decades before your ships arrived. We knew we weren't alone, and we prepared accordingly." She leaned closer to the camera, her eyes hard with the memory of personal loss. "My family died because of your resource quotas. Millions have suffered under your rule. That ends today. The hegemony controls 8,000 worlds." Yule's voice rose with desperate bravado. "This system is nothing to us. Our main fleet will turn your planet to ash when they arrive." Captain Junho allowed himself a small smile as he pressed a button on his command chair. "Perhaps you should check your long-range communications, Commander." Aboard the World Breaker, the communications officer's face went pale. "Sir, all faster-than-light communications are being blocked. We cannot contact the hegemony homeworld or any other system." Admiral Ji-woo's expression remained calm. "You have a choice, Commander. Order all hegemony forces in this system to stand down immediately, or we will be forced to demonstrate that our weapons are as advanced as our stealth technology." For emphasis, targeting locks from 200 ships simultaneously illuminated the World Breaker's hull. Yule stared at the tactical display, witnessing the impossible. After a long moment, his shoulders sagged in defeat. "All hegemony vessels," he transmitted, "stand down. I repeat, stand down." The grand hall of the hegemony's orbital station had been transformed. Where once only the elders' thrones dominated the space, now a circular table stood at the center. Around it sat representatives not only from Earth and the hegemony, but from 12 other species that had lived under hegemony rule. The symbolism was impossible to miss. No one sat higher than another. Supreme Leader Kibum entered last, his golden exoskeleton now lacking its usual ornamental flourishes. The defeat of the World Breaker and the entire solar system fleet had sent shockwaves through the hegemony's empire. When communication was finally restored, the news had spread faster than their sensors could contain it. The primitive humans had outmaneuvered the galaxy's greatest power. Admiral Jiwoo rose as Kibum took his seat. In the 3 weeks since the revelation of Earth's fleet, she had become humanity's de facto representative. Her silver hair gleamed under the hall's lights, her uniform adorned only with a single medal, Earth's highest honor, awarded posthumously to her family. "This gathering marks a turning point," she began, her voice carrying effortlessly through the vast chamber. "For too long, the hegemony has ruled through fear and the illusion of technological superiority. That illusion has been shattered." The representatives from other worlds murmured in agreement. The Volbraxians, a species of crystalline beings who had mined resources for the hegemony for centuries, sparkled with barely contained excitement. The Narthak delegates, reptilian and proud, nodded their crested heads. "We could simply demand your withdrawal from our system," Jiwoo continued, looking directly at Kibum. "Our technology has proven superior. Our stealth fleet could dismantle your empire piece by piece if we chose that path." Kibum's secondary eyes narrowed. "Then why this charade of diplomacy? If conquest is your aim—" "Because we are not you," interrupted Jiwoo firmly. "Humanity doesn't seek to replace one tyrant with another. We propose something unprecedented, a galactic cooperative." She activated the holographic display at the table's center. A new organizational structure appeared, showing interconnected nodes rather than the hegemony's hierarchical pyramid, equal representation, shared technology, free trade, mutual defense, no species commanding another. The Zithrian ambassador, whose gelatinous form rippled with colored light when emotional, glowed bright blue, a sign of hope in their culture. "The hegemony will never agree. Their economy depends on exploitation." "Their economy must evolve," replied Jiwoo, "as must we all." From the Earth delegation, Minho stepped forward. His diplomatic humiliation had made him a symbol of human resilience. "We've prepared transition plans for each world, including economic support during the shift to self-governance. Earth will share its technology freely with cooperative members." "And if we refuse?" Kibum demanded, though his tone lacked conviction. Captain Junyo, now standing by Jiwoo's side, smiled thinly. 2 days ago, 20 Earth vessels decloaked in orbit around your homeworld of Nexus Prime. Your planetary defenses never detected them. They departed without incident, this time. The revelation sent the hegemony delegation into disarray. "Their homeworld vulnerable? Impossible. We've had 30 years to perfect our technology," Junho added. "Your scientists are still trying to understand how our cloaking works. How many other advancements do you think we've made?" Across the galaxy, the ripple effects of Earth's stand were already being felt. On the mining world of Corvus 4, hegemony overseers watched nervously as workers downed tools and demanded better conditions. Around the gas giant Bezalon, where the methane harvesting had made the hegemony wealthy for generations, the indigenous floating cities began refusing shipments. A revolution of hope was spreading faster than any fleet could travel. 6 months later, in the newly established cooperative, headquarters built in Earth orbit, Admiral Jiwoo watched ships from a dozen worlds dock at the sprawling station. Each brought delegates, scientists, and ordinary citizens eager to participate in this new galactic community. "The Artaxians have joined," reported Minho, now serving as Earth's chief diplomat to the cooperative. "That brings our membership to 37 worlds. The hegemony now controls fewer than 2,000 systems." Jiwoo nodded, gazing out at the ships. Some were elegant crystalline structures that seemed to float rather than fly. Others were massive living vessels, grown rather than built. Earth vessels moved among them, still maintaining their stealth capabilities, but now sharing other technologies freely. "And the transition programs?" she asked. "Exceeding expectations. The Volbraxians have already established their own independent mining cooperatives. The Narthak worlds are forming a defensive alliance within our framework." Their conversation was interrupted as a familiar figure approached. Former Ambassador Tay, now representing the moderate faction of the hegemony that sought peaceful integration with the cooperative. He looked different, his ornate robes replaced with simpler attire, his posture less rigid with arrogance. "Admiral Jiwoo," he greeted with a respectful bow. "The medical technology your people shared has already saved thousands on our core worlds. I wish to extend my personal gratitude." Jiwoo acknowledged him with a nod. "Knowledge benefits all when shared freely, Ambassador." Tay turned to Minho, curiosity overcoming his diplomatic reserve. "There's something I must know," he said quietly. "How did you achieve such advancement in secret? Our analysts had calculated human technological development would take at least another century to reach our level. Yet you surpassed us entirely." Minho smiled, remembering his humiliation before the council that now seemed so long ago. "For most of our history, humans have faced existential threats, from nature, from each other, from our own creations. We've learned to innovate under pressure." He guided Tay to the viewport where Earth was visible, a blue jewel against the blackness of space. "But more importantly, we've always been underestimated, by each other, by nature's challenges, and, certainly by you. It's a human tradition to exceed expectations." As they watched, a new cooperative vessel emerged from Earth's shipyards. Its design a collaboration between 5 different species, its purpose exploration rather than conquest. "The galaxy is entering a new age," Minho said. "Not under humanity's rule, but under nobody's rule. We all have something to contribute." Tay watched the ship's graceful departure. "I underestimated your species in every possible way." "Yes," agreed Minho with a smile, "and we're counting on others making that same mistake a little less often from now on." In the vast chamber behind them, representatives from dozens of worlds discussed, debated, and planned together as equals. The hegemony's mockery had ended. The age of cooperation had begun. The end.